All right, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Mike. David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Talked to you a lot about Dak keeping his feet where they are and just how he manages things, but just coming into this season without Lamb, two rookie offensive linemen going in, the contract, just how he managed all that and all the changes you had in the offense to kind of get to this point, and just the attitude he portrays to the team while doing that.
Excellent attitude. Actually, we had a meeting, and a few of his teammates acknowledged him specifically. That speaks volumes, particularly when you hear those words in a team setting. He's been outstanding. He's same man every single day. His work ethic, and that's so important to not only for his process, but for our process as a football team.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. The 2.3 is always a big deal every week, I imagine. Does it grow importance this week when it's a guy like Lamar back there and the things that
it's about a 6.8. No, he's pretty remarkable. This is just the way he extends plays. So it's obviously a focal point for us. But yeah, he's a dynamic player.
How do you do that in practice? Do you do, if there's an initial stop, do you say just keep playing?
Well, Cooper Rush tries, Trey does a good job of it. But, yeah, we try to emulate it the best we can. Actually, I thought Trey did a really nice job yesterday. And, today that'll be, something that we'll encourage, particularly in those looks for our defense.
John Machado with The Athletic. Can you give us any update on CD and Trayvon Diggs from that pricing you're saying?
Yeah, I think that, they'll be in limited fashion today. So I'm not of high concern there.
And then what about Mozzie Smith in the back?
We got some work to do early, so I'm not sure what his participation doing. They were still doing some, checking on some things this morning. But he's here. He's been in the walkthroughs, been in the meetings and everything. So.
Okay. Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Along those lines with Mozzie, you got Watkins here. Just where do you stand with the D-line?
Yeah, definitely. Carlos, it's great to have him back. Obviously he's not only an excellent veteran player, but he's very popular, within our walls, and I thought he was just such a, excellent presence in the D-line room. So, he's played in different systems. He's, I think he's a really good fit for what we're looking for. I'm glad he's just so fortunate he was available. So, today's our padded practice, so we'll get after it and sort through it today and tomorrow.
Saji with The Athletic. With Jaylen Tolbert, where have you seen he had a great play obviously against the other day, but where do you see his growth and his opportunity for growth?
Well, Jaylen has a tremendous work ethic, and I just think through his work and his diligence, you can see his confidence, just continues to increase, and I think that's the product that you got to see, this past week. So it's always refreshing, and you love seeing your young players grow. But this guy doesn't miss an opportunity to get better, and he hasn't since he's been here. So I just want to see him build off of what he did against the Saints.
Do you feel like players can use special teams, or often use special teams to grow in their role on offense, defense, and the way that they approach those snaps?
Absolutely. You look at the majority of the players in this league, special teams is the vehicle onto the 53. That's the way it's laid out for these guys when they arrive here. The primary importance of special teams. You see it time and time again. You have a 53-man roster, and 48 or 49 get to play on Sundays, and the guys that don't, it usually comes down to their special teams participation. So, yeah, the importance of special teams is critical, just from A, having the opportunity to play on Sunday, but B, the development of playing football. There's so much carryover on special teams to both offense and defense, whether you're on a coverage unit, pursuit and finish on the defense, ball extraction, ball security, all the fundamentals that you work on and have to execute on offense and defense. Obviously, you have the same thing on special teams.
Good.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, I understand you've talked about not putting a whole lot of stock in numbers until 4 games through, but Baltimore's
all right, go ahead. Here we go.
But Baltimore's pass defense has allowed the most yards, run defense the fewest. Is that a profile of a defense, based on where your team is at this point in the season, that is, a matchup that came at the right time?
Well, I think the thing that I know what I've looked at is really their numbers from last year, and we know what those were. They were outstanding. So you look at that, and then the personality of the players that they have, and how they played so far in weeks 1 and 2. So no, I haven't put a lot of stock into those numbers.
Mike, Aaron Kasman, Lone Star Live. We talked earlier this week about DeMarvion Overshawn snap counts. I'm curious with a guy like that, a young player like that, what your philosophy is on, sure, maybe you don't want him on the field in certain packages, but then how do you make sure he gets better at some of those things when he's not playing?
Well, they're always getting better. I mean, that's why we come to work every day. So, but yes, I mean, sometimes these games don't go the way you anticipate, whether how much space you play and how much sub. So when you're dealing with young players, you always have to straddle that, straddle the fence on how much time they've had training, and sometimes you got to let them go and play. I mean, offensively, we got 2 rookies playing on the offensive line. Obviously the tight ends are young. You just kind of you just got to go. So, and that's no different on defense. But yeah, they're still working. I've talked about this in here before. We have a young guys, young guns meeting 4 days a week, and that's really geared to make sure our young players are getting all the extra work that you can't practice everybody. You can't give everybody all the reps in the walkthrough. So these young guy meetings are clearly set in place to develop our young players, and not only for this week but for the long haul. It's a long year, and these young guys are going to play, some sooner than later, and we got to make sure they're ready.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. Any sense on Dalvin Cook for Sunday and whether he'll be up? It's too early to say.
Well, I don't talk about any of the guys that are, that haven't played last week. So, we're practicing everybody. We want everybody to get ready to go.
And the run game, a little bit of uncertainty coming into the season, but you really haven't had a chance in the first 2 weeks to assess it for various reasons. Do you get antsy about that to try to see what the answers are going to be there, or is it too early really to be worried about?
Really just focus on, our menu of concepts that we believe in, the time that we put into the training of those concepts, the confidence that the players have, and then you stack it up against the challenge that's in front of you, and that's the Ravens defense. So that part will never change regardless of what the statistics say.
Mike, Ed Warder, WFAA, you said earlier in the week that the outcome of the game demonstrated to you that you hadn't prepared the team properly, or the team wasn't prepared.
I said that?
You didn't think you played like you were very well prepared, and you were going to have to make some changes going into this week? No?
I don't recall saying that.
Look it up.
Okay.
I'll ask you a different
Yeah, why don't you ask me tomorrow? on the phone.
When you've struggled against the run game on defense like you have,
Okay.
do you look at an opportunity, a team like the Ravens as being an opportunity to demonstrate your capabilities in that regard, or is it like, oh, this is a bad matchup for us, we have to figure it out?
No, definitely. I think really when the schedule came out, and you're playing the AFC North, I think, each division has a personality to it, and I think clearly when you have coaches that have been in place, as long as John and Mike have been in Pittsburgh and Baltimore, it's you know what you're up against, and as you plan for the preseason. There's things that we had conversations back in May. Once the schedule came out, conceptually, conceptually anticipating playing against these non-conference type games, and especially when we realized that we're going to play three of the 4 in the first 5 weeks. So those conversations and anticipations, you have as soon as the schedule comes out. So regardless of what happened last week, we're definitely looking forward to playing these guys. They were in the AFC Championship game last year. This is an outstanding football team, has some incredible players on it too. They're very well coached. So so the matchup and looking forward to playing them, it really has nothing to do with what's happened the first 2 weeks, frankly.
All righty, thank you, Mike.
Joe Wade, All City, Dallas. We've talked about emulating Lamar Jackson's speed, but obviously they got a potential 550-pound backfield with Derrick Henry and Pat Ricard. I guess how do you emulate that in practice and try to prepare for just that size and in their backfield.
Just keep emphasizing low tackling. So no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean it's I think the biggest thing is is making sure we're right. Make sure we're clean on where our fits are. And so forth. Yeah, but I mean we're not going to start live tackling anytime soon in a regular season. So I mean it's. So much of what we do is more about the footwork, the angles, the anticipation, taking the first step, getting the first punch in. We do our team fundamentally. So when we have tackling drills that we do every Wednesday, more in a shells format, requires the footwork, the angles, and the approach, and then we have the padded work today. So that, obviously that's a little more dynamic. But those are things you work on every week. So. But yeah, I mean, it's we understand who we're playing against and how we need to tackle. So,
all right.